And, because the secret is just operating from our true feelings, from our feeling nature, then organizing with facts and information. And how I relate is that I see the world constantly searching in the intellect for answers and descriptions and those kinds of things, when the intellect is really just there to interpret or discern what I'm feeling, what I'm picking up. But I've noticed, for me, the experience that I noticed is that I've been so well trained to work with my intellect, through the education system, and really it's just reinforced constantly in our nature, that the tendency is to look for the answers in my head rather than what do I feel. And my solution lately is just slow down, just relax, get a feeling. And rather than sort of, when someone's talking to me, rather than sort of reacting from the intellect, like it's almost like a game, in my brain, where I'm hearing what they're saying, they're talking to me, and then in my head. And it occurred to me actually this week, like, take a deep breath and relax. Where are they coming from? What's the true feeling behind it? And one of the examples I had for me was I had a customer talking to me, about their situation. And my brain kind of went like, I don't need to know any of this. This is not accomplishing the business at hand. And why are they giving me this sort of advice? This happens at times as well. Or why are they making these statements? And when I tuned into I went, oh, I did do this weekend. I tuned into my feelings like, oh, he just wants to share about his son. He just wants to outflow those feelings that he has. So he wasn't trying to teach me anything. It wasn't, it was just that simple. So what do you feel about that?
Well, I'm really glad you mentioned the feelings, because it is true in my life, the moments that I've had, especially around my physical and how I feel, or if something, an outside influence, like say the COVID shot, and how do I feel about that? That was the first thing that hit me, right? Something doesn't feel quite right about that. When I started getting sick and I could feel my liver a lot a couple years back, that doesn't feel right. So how do I work with that? And I wasn't overthinking things, but I was in my feelings. So those moments when I've just gone for my feelings, I've really been able to be led certain ways that have been supportive for me. And then recently, when I was involved in listening to podcast after podcast after podcast about health and this and that, and that's when I recognize I need to like turn off some of it. I'm listening to too much. So I think that's the thing for myself, is I recognize that there's so many good people in the world trying to be of service, but what do I resonate with?
I noticed that, with emotions, I can emotionally react to certain situations and jump to conclusions, you might say. And the more that I tune into my feelings, I can stay relaxed. But I think I've been trained to react from the checklist of the procedure of how I operate within society.